I must say it's a great pleasure to address you all at the onset of the orientation program, which is an annual activity when new students have arrived at our university here in Mzuzu. One must observe that you are amongst the few privileged to be selected into higher education through a competitive process, whether it is through the harmonized selection organized and led by the National Council for Higher Education, or indeed for those who are to pursue all the programs, the normal selection competitive process. And therefore, feel most welcome to Mzuzu University. We are known for our colors, which is green, and not surprisingly that Mzuzu City is said to be a green city. And therefore, I would like to introduce to you all the Mzuzu University. The Mzuzu University was established by an Act of Parliament, number 12 of 1997, Chapter 30, 09, and that in 1999 is when we had the first intake of about 100 students. When we reflect on the act of the university, the functions are fourfold. First is to encourage the advancement and dissemination of learning and research. Indeed, associated with the same, the second is to engage in such university education, research and training that is responsible to the needs of Malawi and the world. We therefore also thirdly provide facilities for higher education research in order that indeed we can increase the knowledge base. And that for those who have fulfilled the requirements of their study, they are awarded certificates, diplomas and degrees. It is therefore not surprising that as a university, we are guided by a strategic plan for which we have vision and mission statement. As a university, when you look at the logo of the university, there are three words there which characterize our university, and that's the motto. The motto is self-reliance, service, perfection. Self-reliance, service, perfection. And therefore, we as a university, we aim to be a premier provider of tertiary education, adaptive research, and outreach in Malawi and the world. The mission statement was engraved at the onset of the university when it was launched, and that as you enter the main building where the administration is, you will read it. And please take note that it is to provide high-quality education, training, research, and complementary services to meet the technological, social, and economic needs of individuals and communities in Malawi and the world. We have a set of core values which characterize us, which are academic excellence, educational success, diversity and inclusion, dependability, and quality customer service. I did mention that we are implementing a strategic plan of 2016-2020 with 5 sets of pillars towards teaching, learning and training, capacity building, research, consultants and outreach, fourthly, governance and management, and finally, resource mobilization. It is important that the key performance indicators will relate to enrollment, quality, and relevance. The staff complement, particularly those of us who have PhD degrees, and the level of research outputs in terms of publications, and indeed our participation in providing professional services to society, and therefore consultancies and contract research. An important matter is that given the motto where we are reflecting on self-reliance, we have to demonstrate annually that we generate reasonable amount of income and that in this regard, the Council of Mzuni University emphasizes on no fee, no registration policy, and that it is important for all of you to meet that obligation, because that resource helps us to offer you optimum student experience. We will be engaging with you in the coming months through the MUSILEC, which is the Mzuni University Student Consortium, or indeed Union Leadership, that when we finalize the development of the 2020-2030 strategic plan. Strategy is very, very important. We would have mentioned from the onset that we are a comprehensive university in the sense that we look at teaching, research, and indeed professional services. And as a university, we admit students through two modes: the face-to-face as well as the open distance and e-learning order. And therefore it is a great honor that we have in this meeting both categories of students. We must indicate that through the catalyzation and funding by Malawi government, we have for order the main hub here, and that 4 satellite centers in Karonga, Lilongwe, Balaka, and Mulanje. And therefore, after appropriate orientation, those who pursue order programs will be able to access these services across the country, and that the order center should be able to support you in earnest. As a university, we have 6 faculties: Faculty of Education, Tourism, Hospitality and Management, Humanities and Social Science, Health Sciences, Environmental Sciences, finally and not least, the Science, Technology and Innovation. Indeed, as you come, you pursue a variety of programs which are complementary in nature. We wish to indicate or share with you that most of our programs are duly accredited by the National Council for Higher Education, and those which have just been developed will now be submitted to INCHE for appropriate accreditation. I wish, therefore, at this stage to call upon you that indeed, having been selected through a competitive process, there are expectations on both ends. We, as a university, will strive and will do our best to provide an environment for top-level student experience, so that as you leave at the end of your study, we will celebrate together. However, as an individual, you must take note that you were selected for a purpose. Amongst the 16,000 students who finish Malawi School Certificate of Education, is only a few of you. So consider that as a unique privilege. And therefore, as you begin your studies from next week following the orientation, having indeed paid 50% of the fees, you will remain focused on what you came here for. So we expect you to be hardworking, to demonstrate a huge level of integrity in the business of your studies, and indeed by so doing you will demonstrate that you are patriotic to this country. You also love your parents, you love your community in which you come from. I wish therefore to say that it is a different environment from a secondary school where you may have been or you were. And therefore we call upon you to manage your freedom very well, because it can be misused, and that at the end of your study or prior to completion you would have been withdrawn on academic grounds, which would be most unfortunate, because government, your parents and all of us will have invested in you, and any investment requires that there are useful returns. And the most important returns is that you have finished your studies successfully, you have received your degree, or indeed a diploma, the case may be. We have the student union, which is being restructured at present, Mzuni so that it has a representation from the two modes of delivery, the face-to-face and indeed the audio, and that in the coming months we will facilitate the election into a different type which is more inclusive in that way. I wish to indicate that as you move on, you must read the student's handbook. Be familiar with it. And indeed, if your rights are being trampled upon, then you have a system which is in place. We have the Dean of Students with the colleagues there, and indeed, the UR who leads the Student Affairs Committee. So the students' leadership should be aware of any concerns you are. For example, supposing we have sexual problems or gender-based issues which you're experiencing, please alert our registrar's office and the Dean of Students so that the due process can be undertaken to address that problem. Meanwhile, we have a gender policy, but we are also going to develop a sexual harassment policy so that those who are aggrieved can be appropriately supported. I wish to conclude is that as a university, we wish to remain responsive and competitive within Malawi and beyond. And therefore, I wish to emphasize that we are a public institution, and indeed the stakeholder is Malawi government, which is the proprietor. And therefore we as a university, we are known by what we are characterized. So we have a unique brand and reflect on that. Interestingly, there are systems which we have developed which are efficient and responsive so that indeed we can meet your needs across the whole value chain. And indeed, in this regard, I wish to emphasize that as we develop the new strategic plan, which will be consistent with the Malawi 2063 vision, you remember 2063 vision, you are to be the individuals to support its operationalization, and indeed, if we want to have everyone benefit and to have improved livelihoods, you will have a role. So let's work together so that at the end we have well-groomed human capital towards socio-economic development of Malawi, including ourselves at various household levels. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to mention that your coming was delayed by over 12 months because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Indeed, an attempt was made, but we couldn't because by coming together, we exacerbate the infection rates. And consistent with what Malawi government is doing at present, every evening there are briefings on COVID-19. And indeed, we have clear guidelines, rules, regulations, which we must respect. We, as a university, we have a COVID-19 committee, which is chaired by the Dean of Health Sciences, and that Mzuni is represented in that committee. I would like that, one, wash your hands with soap regularly, sanitize with appropriate sanitizers. We, as a university, we have our own sanitizer, which we have developed here. And indeed, we share with the students, but interestingly, we have different partners which have come forward to help us. For example, UNDP, and that these will be shared with you so that you should be able to do that. What is important is that you must mask yourself, and that if you're extremely needy, probably we can provide that. You need to keep distance amongst yourself. It's always important. Often we cloud amongst, even the youth are also vulnerable, and that we should be able to protect ourselves. And finally, there's a possibility that you could be vaccinated if you are vaccinated, make sure that the second vaccination, which will be taking place from first week of May, you also come forward. Meanwhile, administration will arrange with our Mzimba DHO North so that we can have our students appropriate vaccination. Each one of you and all of us, we have dreams. And therefore, one believes that your coming here is indeed a persuasion to live or to realize your dreams. And therefore, I wish to say the following, share with you the following quotes. 1. Keep away from people who try to belittle your ambitions. Small people always do that. But the real great ones will feel that you too can become great. Mark Twain, this is what he said. It is important to remember that you have come here to study, to pursue education. We should take note, as Nita Ambani said, education is not a tool for development, individual, community, and the nation. It is the foundation for our future. It is the empowerment to make choices and embodies the youth to chase their dreams. So make sure you pursue that dream to the end. And indeed, Gail Devers, this is what he said. Keep your dreams alive and understand to achieve anything requires faith and belief in yourself, vision, hard work, determination, and dedication. Remember, all things are possible for those who believe. Devers. There are about 10,000 students at the end of your registration here at Mzuni University, and therefore I wish to say the opportunities are availed to you. You are selected through a competitive process, and that you have a clear vision, a clear dream, and that once you are here, you will work towards realizing that full potential which is in you. Let us make sure that we achieve collectively our dream of developing a human capital for the various sectors for which we have the needed capacity and capability here, that you will do well. This is what Colin Powell, who formerly Secretary of State for US, said. A dream doesn't become reality through magic. I will repeat that one. A dream doesn't become reality through magic. It takes sweat, determination, and hard work. And therefore, feel welcome. Welcome to Mzuni University. As you go around, you see a beautiful environment. Indeed, the library is there, and soon you will see that it will be completed. You come at a time that the library is under construction. So you will make good use of that. Make good use of all the human capital we have. Make good use of the administration which we have. And that will support you, your parents, as we contribute to the development of our Mother Malawi. Most welcome to Mzuni University. Thank you very much for your attention. God bless. Thank you.